Hi, this is DJ, and this is my video presentation for my Demo Day project for AI Makerspace Cohort 7. My project is titled Historical Research Assistant. The purpose of this project is to help historians, researchers, and hobbyists work with historical documents and conduct research more effectively. I chose this project because of my own interest in historical research. Over the years, I've completed several major research projects, and this video will show you two of them. I focus especially on the history and culture of South Jersey, where I am from. One project explored the ghost town of Hamilton, New Jersey, which played a major role in the World War I war effort of the United States. Another project examined the Revolutionary Tea Party that occurred in Greenwich, New Jersey in 1774, known as the Greenwich Tea Burning. To manage these projects, I developed a file naming and organization system for historical documents. Each file is structured by source type, such as books, journals, newspapers, reports, web articles, or research artifacts. For books, each book would have its own folder. Relevant sections were excerpted from the book and added to the folder. The file name would include the page numbers and the section topic. For example, the Hamilton book, pages 14 to 18, and the section is scope of the work. For journals, file names would include the publication date, journal name, page range, and a brief description. 2019, 0215, Sir Joan, pages 45 to 45, and all aboard for Hamilton, New Jersey. For newspapers, the file name would start with the ISO format for the date, along with the newspaper name, page number, and a brief description of the article. You see the date, newspaper Philadelphia Inquirer, page 2, and the first wedding. For reports, file names would include the name of the government agency, the topic, years of coverage, page numbers, and year of publication. War Department report on Hamilton 1918, pages 2000, Hamilton Arsenal, and the year was 1920. For web articles, file names would include the date, website name, and a brief description of the article. The date, followed by the website name, as you can see, Joe 104.9 and Hamilton Raceway. Beyond source documents, I also created research artifacts like timelines, summaries, or culture notes. These are named by topic, such as Hamilton Model or Greenwich Timeline. Let me now show you the project. Here is the main landing page. This project was built using Streamlit for the front end. So here, we just started the project and we have no projects added. So let's add a project. We can call it Hamilton project, or you can click create project. This now creates a new project that has various options. There are two ways the user can add documents. They can use the upload documents from the navigation, select the type that they need, or they can add the documents directly into the project folder. So here's the project, and we have projects here, Hamilton project with documents. I can copy the documents into the folder. Now I'm going to use the document sync. So we have 52 documents to add. So we're going to click sync the documents. This processes them in batches. The project uses an adaptive chunk strategy. We use the tick token to count the tokens, and depending on the token count, if the token count is less than 300, we just chunk the entire document. If it's less than 800 or 2000, we apply a slightly different chunking strategy. Now back over here, we can see that everything was processed. Processed it with 8 batches. And we go into Document Manager to see that all the documents have been processed. We have our 52 documents. We can also check in Vector Store to see if we have the documents embedded, and we can see that we have a few of them shown here. You can then go to Ask Questions. This has two options. It has a standard mode and an advanced mode. The advanced mode simply adds an internet search to the user's data. You can filter by source. We can filter by book, journal, newspaper, report, web article, miscellaneous, and unsorted. And we can also add a filter year. No filter, single year, or year range. So let's now go ask a question. What date was the first marriage at Hamilton, New Jersey? We're going to click Ask Question. And we can see that we get first marriage at Hamilton, New Jersey was performed on December 24th, 1918. And it gives us a list of sources consulted. We have the first source here about the marriage. Not every source return is relevant. And we can also go in chat history to see that it was saved here, so the user can return to that. So if the user needs to do research or write an article, can you tell me about Camp Hamilton? It works better if you build it up iteratively. So we're going to ask you about Camp Hamilton, which would make a good section in an article on Hamilton. And we can see Camp Amatil was a military installation established during World War I in connection with the nearby munitions plant. In October 1918, approximately 2,400 troops arrived at Amatil to assist in operations and help bring the plant's output to full capacity. These soldiers also performed civilian tasks as needed. By the time of the armistice, the population of Camp Amatil had grown to about 3,800 officers and enlisted men. And you can see here that it also talked about how Camp Amatil participated in basketball games. And then in the third paragraph, you can see that Amatil, the population rapidly declined after the armistice. So that part should probably be in a different section, but as we can see, we got very good information if we were to write an article on Camp Amatil. The user can also go to project management. If they no longer need a product, they can delete it completely or they can archive it. We can also take a look at upload documents. So we copied everything and used the document sync. But we can start. If we need to add more sources for the book, we can either create a new book or we can use an existing book. And we have two books. We have the Iron Age and the Amatil book. We can click on Iron Age book, and if we need to, we can change the metadata. So here we have the title Iron Age Volume CI. And if we need to change anything, like change this to volume, we can click. So I like it as volume.ci because that's how it is in the book. And then go to journals. This will allow you to upload a journal, and it's going to ask you about citation information. What volume, what issue, what was the release date. Newspapers will have sometimes an attribution, such as special to the newspaper name. So here I added a default attribution, special to, and for the newspaper articles in this collection, the only one we had Philadelphia Inquirer, and that has special to the Inquirer. If there's other newspapers that have their own attributions, we can add them here and update. We find a different way for Philadelphia Inquirer. We can just add a comma and add the additional citation. We then can go to reports. Reports allows you to add a file, and you can add the citation information. So let's take a look at that. So here we have 5 reports, and we can see that the file name, New Jersey Department of Health Report on Amatil Population 1918 to 1920, page 175, Millica River section 1921. So the file name is good for human readability. I can take a look at this and I can know exactly what this document refers to. However, the title is actually 43rd Annual Report of the Department of Health of the State of New Jersey 1920. So that's not so useful to have. However, for the citation, I do want the actual title. So this makes it simple. You add a new report and it gets added here. Web articles are similar to newspaper articles, except they don't have a page number. You can also add unsorted. If you don't have the time to properly name the file, or it's just a one-off, you can use unsorted. And if you have any other artifacts, research artifacts, you can add it to miscellaneous. Alright, so let's do one more project. We're going to do this one, Greenwich project. Here we're going to use the upload documents. So I have newspaper articles on this, and we're going to add them. You can add all four of them. They get added, and now they're pending. So we go to process pending, and we click process all pending. And this does it in batches. We can go to document manager to see that they get added. And now let's go ask a question. So what was the date of the Greenwich tea burning? And we get back the answer. The Greenwich tea burning took place on December 22nd, 1774, and we have the sources consulted. These you can switch between projects as needed. Or add a new project. Next steps. This project was developed using my own historical research and file naming system. The project should be expanded to allow more flexibility with file naming so that the user can use their own system. The project should also be expanded to allow for more document types, including images, instead of just text files. This concludes my video presentation for my project. Thanks for watching.